Hey Chicas, welcome to Coding for Chicks. Today I'm gonna teach you about classes and objects. Ooh, it's the most important thing in object-oriented programming. The first thing I wanna do is create a class for shoes. Of course, you know, what else would you create a class for? In order to do that, I just write class shoe, and I have already started. The next thing I want to ask myself is, what is important about shoes? Wow. If you have a shoe, you have some kind of a style and you have some sort of a color, don't you? So this is something my class of shoes has to know about. Okay, so my class needs to know about these two things. So I create an init function, which is an initiation function for the class. And when you're writing classes, your function always has to include self, pointing to the class itself. So I wanted style and I wanted color. So when I initiate my class, I need those two things. But I'm not really done. I need to also put this information into the class itself. And I do that by doing self style and then picking out this style I chose. And then I do self color and pick out the color I chose. So color. Okay, we're getting there. It's not enough for me only to be able to create a shoe. I also want to be able to see what I have created. So I want another function and I'm gonna call it print shoe. And of course I put myself in there. I have to be in there all the time, yes. Then I want to print the information I gave. So I'm gonna just do print. My shoe is, and then plus and self style. I'm not gonna choose this one because this is just for initiating. I'm gonna choose what belongs to the class, which is this guy. And in, oops, daisies. And self color. Okay. Now, in order to test my beautiful class that I have created, I need to create an instance object of it. So I want to create a shoe. I'm just gonna name it shoe number 1. And to create it, I write shoe for the name of the class here. And now I know I need the style and I need the color. So I'm just gonna pick out like sneaker and the color blue. And voila, I have created an instance object of my shoe. Nothing happens because the only thing I have done is create this one instance object of the shoe. But I haven't done anything with it, and this is where our second beautiful function comes into play. Now we're going to use our wonderful print shoe function, and we are going to use it with our shoe1 object. So we write shoe1 print shoe and leave the parentheses empty. Yes, this should do it. Let's take a look. Then runaroo. Woo! My shoe is sneaker in blue. Now, why did we write shoe 1 here instead of just like shoe or something? Well, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna create another shoe, number 2. And he's gonna be shoe, of course, and a sandal. And the color, black. Just keep it classic. And now, when I want to use the print shoe function, I wouldn't know which one it should belong to. This is why we define it here. So if I wanted to print this guy out, I would just do shoe number 2, print shoe, and voila! See, it's super duper easy just when you get the hang of it. It's just a kind of a different way of thinking about things, but it's super useful. So I recommend really digging into this stuff. But I'm not done. I want to create another class that uses our shoe class. And what class would that be? How about shelf? Class shelf. And in this case, I want to create a class variable, which is going to be a list. Because I want that class variable to contain all the all the shoes I add to my shelf. And the special thing about a class variable is it's accessible anywhere in the class. So we can use it wherever we want. Okay, now back to business. We need to initiate this beautiful shelf of ours. Everything is so beautiful today. Self and size, because I want to know how big my shelf is. Size does matter, you know. And size. This is just the same thing we did before. And now for my functions. So I need to be able to add some shoes to my shelf, or it's going to be totally useless, or shoeless, as you say. So I'm going to do add shoe. And there's going to be self, of course. And my addition is going to be the shoe, of course. But wait a tick, how do I know if I can put my shoes in the shelf? Not all shelves are as big, and sometimes when they're full, you just can't add any more shoes. I'm thinking an if function to check if there is still space in the shelf. And I already know the size of the shelf, so I know that is going to be my first comparison. But how do I know how many shoes I have already added? This is where our shoe list comes in handy. You remember, he's a class variable and therefore accessible anywhere within our class. Also right here. So in order to check if our shelf is big enough to contain the shoes we want to add, we just check the length of our little awesome class variable. But to check it, we need to write shelf first, because it's a part of shelf, and then shoe. This is how we access a class variable within a class. The only thing left to do is add our shoe to the shelf. So we just write shelf, shoe, because we want this guy, right? And then we're just gonna append to the list, and we're gonna append the shoe we are adding. Okay, straightforward, isn't it? And for our final function, I would like to print the contents of the shelf. So def print shelf, another printy function. And they're just the usual for I in shelf shoe. Now all of us know what this stands for. And this is going to be the fun thing. Now I'm accessing one of the shoes within the shoe list. So it contains everything that is within the shoe class. So I'm just going to use this function. I know it's magic, isn't it? Print shoe. Ooh, yeah. This looks really cool. Let's test this baby. So I need to create a shelf, shelf numero uno, and my shelf is gonna have the space for two pairs of shoes. I think that's enough. And I'm gonna add something to my shelf, and I'm just gonna use this function, add shoe. So add shoe, and what am I gonna add? Ooh, this is the fun thing. I'm gonna add this guy. So I'm gonna add an object of this class to this class. Ooh, it's so cool. Shoe 1. Hello. But I'm not done yet. I also want to print out what my shelf contains. So I just do shelf 1 as I did before with the shoes. Print shelf. And remember, I can only use the shelf functions when I'm using a shelf object. I can't do shelf 1 and use print shoe. That doesn't work. Print shoe only belongs to the shoe objects. And print shelf only belongs to the shelf objects. So shall we see what happens? As you can see, these two are the same shoe prints we did before, but this is a new one, and this is the one we're doing with the shelf. So this is the super duper awesome magic. We're using the shoe print function within the shelf. Just to make the magic 100% clear, when I'm adding a shoe to the shelf here, I'm not just adding some strings or something. I'm adding an object of the shoe class. You can see here shoe 1, and shoe 1 represents an object of the shoe class. This is the information I'm adding. And this guy, he knows this function. So when I call him back down here, I can use his function. This is why I can use the magic, because I'm not just adding some string or some integer here. I'm adding an object of the class. And this object, he has a lot of, swag. He knows how to print, and, well, that's all he knows. But you can let him know so many things. But this is the cool thing about classes. You can make them work together, you can use them to create whatever, and it's really fun and really useful when you're doing programming. Today we have learned how to create a class, we have learned how to use a class within a class, and we're becoming such awesome programmers that it's just amazing. I'm going to start adding my code to GitHub, so just go to GitHub under Coding for Chicks if you want to use any of the code I did or use it as a reference or whatever. I'm really happy about all the awesome comments I'm getting on my videos. I also love your likes and love your subscribes. So thank you for that. This is all I have for you today. Thank you for listening. This is Coding for Chicks.